Hi, so what we're going to talk about today is the holy grail of sustainable gastronomy. And you're probably looking at me like I'm making all this up, and I kind of am. So what you're going to do is you're going to take this box and you're going to open it. And we're going to take a trip down the rabbit hole of your taste buds. So in this box, we're going to find a couple lemons, an edible packaging peanut, a chocolate truffle, and a little packet of pinkish white powder. And what you're going to do is you're going to lick a lemon, just doesn't matter which one. We all know what lemons taste like, but I want you to make sure that this is a real lemon. You're going to eat half of that chocolate truffle, and you're going to take a bite out of that packaging peanut. After you do all that, you're going to take this powder, and you're just going to let it dissolve on your tongue. And what's in this powder, there's two ingredients. One is a miracle berry, which is a real berry, and the other one is just a food starch. All organic, non-GMO, no fertilizers, none of that. And so this miracle berry has been around for, well, since 1725 when it was discovered. And it has a very unique property to it. It has a glycoprotein that's going to latch on to your sour and bitter taste receptors and prevent you from tasting sour and bitter things. And so what you'll notice is that everything tastes sour or bitter or, not too yummy. So when you take the miracle berry, it's going to stay on your tongue for about 20 to 25 minutes. And then when you go back and eat that, you're going to experience the future of sustainable gastronomy. And this is how we do it. So in order to give you food that you really love, like cheeseburgers and French fries and all that stuff, in the future it's going to be made out of health food products. And we took a journey down this path 8 years ago when we opened up this restaurant, Moto. One of the first things that we created was what you're looking at on this screen. This is a sushi roll that just looks and tastes like a sushi roll, but it's made out of edible paper. And so when we opened Moto, people thought that we were a sushi restaurant. So as a joke, I decided to give our customers the sushi roll that you see in front of you. And then after that, we decided to take it a step further. And we made it into a sort of a deja vu course. We wanted to give you the same course twice. And so here we have carbonated grapes with a little bit of salmon roe. And then we take a picture of it and then give you that picture that's actually made with the same organic edible ingredients that's in the dish. And it actually tastes like the dish and looks like the dish. And the interesting thing about this one is that the grapes are actually carbonated. We take carbon dioxide, pressurize the grapes, and so we call it grape soda or champagne grapes, except there's no sugar. And what we did is we did a study at a university on this, and you actually eat these grapes and your body digests small amounts of CO2 as you're eating it. So in the future, what we will be doing is we'll be scrubbing CO2 from the atmosphere, putting it into fruit products. You eat it, you're eliminating CO2, you're eating your way out of global warming, which is very cool. And that is just a fun thing to eat. Then we started going down this replicated food world. How can we keep replicating foods in fun ways? Some of it has no point. Some of it's just goofy. Some of it really does have an environmental impact. This one has no point. This is just a carrot cake. But there's a lot of processes that go on in this. The sphere is made out of sweetened carrot juice. You have the frosting there. And some garnishes, some walnuts and carrot praline. This right here is a Cuban pork sandwich. It looks like a Cuban cigar in an ashtray with the ash. And so the ash is actually made from the spices used to cure the pork. So here we're demonstrating things that may be visually unappealing, but it's actually one of the most sought after dishes that we serve. People just get a kick out of sticking a cigar in their mouth and chewing on it. And so we started to learn how food behaves. Everything that you eat has a behavior to it once you eat it. This, for example, looks like nachos, except it's actually a dessert. The chips are made from flan, which is a Mexican dessert. The cream on it is actually made from a type of Mexican custard. And then we have the salsa, which is made from kiwis and cilantro. The chocolate is Mexican chocolate that's been more or less just physically adjusted in a blender to look like ground beef. And then the cheese is actually mango, which has been pureed and frozen, then shredded into liquid nitrogen. So when you get it on your table, the cheese melts, and it's actually going from sorbet state into a liquid state. It looks like nachos made from Mexican dessert products, but it's not quite nachos. So understanding like cultures in food is very important to where we're going. At this point, you know, we're like in year 4 in the restaurant, and we started filming this TV show, and they wanted a lab, you know, in the restaurant. So we put this state-of-the-art lab in there. It's probably the most advanced lab as far as food goes in the world. And so now we had like every tool available to just take this thing to the next level, which is really what every chef wants, just a ton of tools to blow things up with and to do crazy experiments like standing lemons on top of each other. And these are some of the team members at this restaurant. And we really encourage free thought, and just the more insane the idea, the better, as long as it tastes good at the end of the day. So we get a lot of inspiration from all over the place. And on this show, we took a cow. You know, what does a cow eat? Cows, in their feed, they eat 3 main ingredients. They eat corn, barley, and beets. And so we decided to take those 3 ingredients and just use physical force to make a hamburger patty out of it. We want it to behave like a hamburger patty. We want it to look like blood rare, and then it grills up just like a patty would. And then it, you know, turns into a well-done patty, except it's made from health food products that are ultra-local. So you're basically removing the cow from the food chain. This is what it looked like when I posed the challenge to my chef de cuisine. And he, you know, after staring at each other for about 4 hours, we basically created this. And it packs like a hamburger patty, and it cooks like a hamburger patty. And we actually went to university and did a taste test between this patty and real meat, and they couldn't really tell the difference. So really just pigeonholing ourselves into this small little creative box. And that's really key to taking it even a step further. Has everybody tasted that powder? You got that sitting on your tongue right now? Okay. Next, we decided to replicate tuna out of watermelon. The perfect way to have tuna is to grow it in your backyard. And watermelon, we noticed, looked a lot like tuna. So we took the watermelon and we sliced it into logs. The next step is to give it the texture of tuna. And we do that by cryovacuuming it, or sucking the air out. We actually put some seaweed on the watermelon, and then we roll it in these Japanese spices that you probably have had with your tuna. This is called Togarashi. And then we make it look like tuna, and it tastes like tuna, and it's great. So it's actually healthy for you, and there's no poor, unhappy tunas out there being caught by the bazillions. The next step was, you know, how could we just wanted to experiment with French fries and ketchup. Could we make French fries and ketchup out of health food products? Is that possible? And make it taste like French fries and ketchup? So we took some green superfood drink, which tastes horrible. We put it into a centrifuge, and we separated the water from the sweet product. So the sweetener in these superfood drinks is all-natural fruit-based fructose. Not bad for you. You don't want to eat a ton of it. But we basically spun that, and then we took the water off the top with a little bit of tomato powder just to give it color. And we adjusted the ratio of the solids to the liquid matter. And basically, that's what we have right there. Something that looks and tastes just like ketchup, has 1/3 the amount of sugar in it derived from natural sugar, not high fructose corn syrup. So you're basically looking at a condensed version of a superfood drink. And then we took some granola bars, because they're equally as disgusting. We put them in the freeze dryer and dried them out, removed all the moisture, went and crumbled them up into a powder. And the next step here was we would just shape them into French fries and give them a fry. And so we went up to the Willis Tower in Chicago and gave it to a bunch of kids and moms and dads, and they were just having a good old time with this stuff. Like, wow, these are great French fries and ketchup. And they had no idea that they're eating healthy food products. Simply amazing. Okay, so the next thing that you're going to do is you're going to eat your lemon again. You're going to eat that truffle again. Doesn't matter which one. And you're going to eat the rest of that packaging peanut. And what you're going to experience is the miracle berry has actually suppressed your ability to taste sour and bitter foods. Okay? So the lemon is going to taste as sweet as lemonade. The chocolate has no saturated fat, no sugar, and it's going to taste like the sweetest, most delicious chocolate you've ever had. The little packaging peanut, I mean, that just, what do packaging peanuts taste like? I guess that's really a bigger question. So here you're seeing basically the beginning and the end, the beginning of the end of refined sugar. Why don't we, consider foods that grow on the sidewalk? This is where this leads us. There's food on the sidewalk. Okay, we don't think of it as food because it tastes bad. The grass that you mow on your lawn, that stuff tastes bitter or sour. That's why we don't eat it. It has nutritional value. I was out in my backyard one day, and I popped a miracle berry, and then I just started eating blades of grass, and I isolated 13 different types of grass. Kentucky bluegrass actually tastes like basil when you're flavor tripping. We call this flavor tripping. And so what I did, I thought it would be a good idea to see if I could just live off of the weeds growing in my backyard. Because, I mean, let's just stop and think about it. Hyperlocal cuisine would be just that. You walk out your door, and then, you don't look at it as weeds. It's now a new page in gastronomy. So for a week, I lived off of this stuff, and I actually gained 1/2 pound. Pretty nuts. All you have to do is learn how to cook with it. That's it. We all go through that growth spurt in life of learning how to cook, coming from mother's milk. And, the next step here was we wanted to take a good hard look at what is out there in the wild that tastes bad but still safe to eat. And what could we do with all of those products? Is this possible to take these plant ingredients and swap them out for regular food ingredients? And the answer is yes. A rose bush, for example, contains cellulose. Cellulose can be swapped out for wheat or flour, except there's no celiac issues with it. Rose bushes grow all over the place. We decided to take this to the restaurant and just throw it on the show, see what happens. So I like to pose big challenges to my staff. And I challenge them to just go outside in October in Chicago, where there's very little growing, and make a tasting menu for our customers and charge them big bucks for this. And let's see what happens. So we got like straw, crab apples, cactus. If you just take those 3 ingredients, you take the straw, you burn it, you cook the crab apples with it, you smoke the cactus with the straw, then you blend the straw with the crab apples, it actually tastes identical to green chili salsa with chicken. And we would actually tell people, we'd tell them in this restaurant, you're about to eat chicken with green chili salsa, and they believed it. And one person at the table actually was just, floored. He actually said, unprompted, this could actually be the end of world hunger. I mean, if you look at developing countries like Haiti, where they're eating mud pies and things like that, if you could just open up maybe 2 or 3 ingredients that are hyper-local, so we don't have to distribute products over there, you're knocking down food miles, you're just opening up this whole new world. And this was the reaction of some of the diners at Moto Restaurant. We'd bring out this cart, and that's what they're eating. It's amazing. So we've got some mums, a little bale of hay. And it's all about the future of sustainable gastronomy is replicating the foods that we know and love. It's no secret we're addicted to sweet things. We're addicted to, fat. We're addicted to burgers and things like that. I am too. I grew up on that stuff. I love it. It's great. I love going to the burger joint and getting some fries and a burger. But there's no reason why we can't make that stuff out of healthy foods. And that's exactly what we're doing at our 2 restaurants and my design company. So in the future, you're going to see these things coming out. And it's not really for the money. It's just to watch something cool happen. And I think it's time. So thank you very much. Cheers.